what's happening, family? I hope everybody is good tonight. Listen. Tonight I am give you guys a few moments to jump in and give you guys a few moments to go ahead and invite some people in right quick. It's another He's Able podcast tonight. It's going to be a little bit of a sticky situation tonight. I'm going to tell you guys up front and personal. Having a lot of conversations lately. Um, Lately, the conversations have been with uh, concerning pastors, concerning ministry, concerning uh, infidelity and things of that nature. We had a talk a little while back concerning this topic in a short form, but tonight I wanted to take a little bit of time tonight and discuss this from more than one angle. After discussing this topic more, I'm going to read to you guys a little bit about some of the statistics that are out there, but at the same time, I want you guys to be aware, and this is going to be helpful. I think this episode will be helpful for um, pastors as well as pastors' wives, as well as the church in general. Of course, any discussion that we have is not so much as a discussion to bash, especially not Christianity. And a lot of things when it comes to us talking about family, it's like having like family in our family. Most times, especially in our culture, in the Black community, we don't discuss things. And so, because we don't discuss things, um, a lot of things are swept under the rug, or we're so ashamed of things happening when things happen that we never discuss it so that we can find a better way of handling things and a better way to address things so that it doesn't happen again. So in saying that, I say this: when it comes to the church, it's not exempt from having some human moments. It's not exempt from various things happening in the community. What's up, brother Cameron? I see
Yes,
you. I
sir.
see you have joined us on here. So with that being said, we're going to discuss some things tonight. And I want to just bring this from a different angle, everybody that's watching tonight. As you're watching the show, please feel free to jump in. Please feel free to drop a comment. What's up, Heck? What's up, Shaft, man? Good to see you guys, man. Thanks for giving me a what's up there in the comments. Please drop your comment. If you have comments, questions, statements, I will get to them. And I want you guys to know that. I want to make sure that we are able to have a healthy discussion tonight. And so the as we've seen so often, um, we have this situation when it comes to uh, you know pastors. And I mean, listen, I've had so many people in this last week bring up the discussion, and it's not my place to do a name dropping online like this on the air, and I'm not going to do so. But I've had a lot of people bring up the discussion with me. I guess because I'm a pastor, they bring up this discussion, and they don't know what type of response they're going to get from me because I am a pastor. So with that being said, I get a lot of people this week. They've been talking to me about pastors that have been caught, pastors that they know of personally that have been caught up in different love triangles or infidelities, whether it's um, having babies within the ministry and they have a wife already, whether they're having situations of that sort. So, with that being said, I was really blown away. I tell you, man, when I first came into the church, when I first came back to the church from being out, living my life as a young man, my wife told me off top. She warned me. She said, it's so many things happen inside of ministry. There's a lot of things that happen in the church, and she began to describe to me things that she knew of that had happened, things that she had witnessed, things that she had experienced from in the church world. And so, in saying that, when she did so, I used to tell her, I said, "No, I don't believe it. There's no way you can make me think um, that that's true." Like I used to I would tell her straight up, I just don't believe it. There's no way. I could not believe that there was any of these things happening inside of the church. I just could not believe it. And so what happens here, a lot of people get caught off guard and a lot of people get thrown off, but people don't remember that pastors are human. They don't remember that these are people that you are dealing with. Um, and some people have not accomplished getting a grip on their flesh. And this is one of the uh and for a young pastor, a young minister, anybody that's like really young men, listen to me closely. And it's but I have to say this to the young men first, but I'm going to address young women as well. But young men, listen, coming into the world of church and being a dreamer of being a pastor, a dreamer of being in a position of quote unquote power as a pastor, please make sure you take your time and walk into this. Don't run into it. Don't run into it. There's so many things and so many areas that need to be matured before you enter in to certain positions, especially when it comes to dealing with God's people. And so tonight I want us to discuss this a little bit. And even for the young ladies, listen, young ladies, and listen, before you jump in, you want to be a pastor or a prophetess or whatever you might want to be, please take your time and understand what you're running into. You're going to run into a lot of people that are human, and make sure that your human side is under control. Make sure that you have taken the necessary steps in order to be uh, held accountable in a way to where your integrity is unquestioned. So this is one of those areas. How you doing, Brother Keynes? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Hey, man, would you like to say anything before we get started on this topic tonight?
Yeah, yeah. I love the topic, man. We kind of touched it for like a couple of seconds, a couple of weeks ago, and it's what you're saying, is very helpful. Going to be helpful for a lot of people that's in that right now, or know someone that's in it. And we'll just pray our way all the way through that someone will be healed, whatever trouble they're going through, struggling with it mentally.
Right. Absolutely. There's a great amount of pastors that have admitted to having uh, uh, extramarital affairs, um, or there has been a lot that have admitted to having some form of sexual misconduct, or even just stepping out of boundaries when it came to sexual situations, when it came to them pastoring and membership. So what's happened is, and I want you guys to realize this, and many people miss this. Uh, if you look in America right now, the majority of leadership has been shifted now in a lot of churches to women. And so the thing is that a lot of females don't trust male pastors. A lot of them don't trust them because of what they've heard or experienced somewhere. And it's one thing to kind of um it's one thing, for me, I'm not one of those guys that like to I don't like throwing, like, a lot of people just throw stones at the church. But truthfully, it's not a matter of throwing stones tonight. It's a matter of accountability. And if we don't discuss things, you will always have a revolving door. And I don't think that
Mhm.
people really pay attention to what's happening. I mean, there is a great amount of criticism given to pastors, and I want to give this on both sides. Yes, there are a lot of pastors that get in this for the wrong reason. There are some people who come into this because they know that they're going to interact with vulnerable people, vulnerable women, um, and so a lot of those weak flesh temptations, things that they already know they suffer with, they know that they have it there, but they've never addressed it and they've never dealt with it. So therefore, it leads them to a place to where they're easily tempted and put in positions to where they fail. So we have to be really cautious on that thought. So a lot of times what people say, and these are some of the things that I've heard said about pastors that fail. One of the things is that power causes them to make these moves. Some people say it's narcissism. This is spirit. They have this narcissism. They're narcissists, and that's just how they're gonna. That's why they do what they do, because they notice that they have that power. They believe that they're above God. They believe that they are gods themselves. Some people say it's the desire for instant gratification. In other words, they just can't control their flesh. And then they have a feeling of invincibility. A feeling of invincibility. Listen, you guys, share this. Please share this. I'm telling you, this episode is going to be good for you guys tonight. It's not just about kicks and giggles and laughs, but it's really real talk tonight. Even some justification of selfish choices that they have. These are different things that they stem from in this area of failure. Now, my question tonight is, we've seen a lot of pastors fail. We have blamed a lot of pastors and said that, hey, this is what they do. This is their issue. They have an issue, and that's it. I get it. And I know that a lot of them, and I know of some that have done some very stupid things and have been in this area, and this area is very important. But here's a question that I have, and I'm hoping that I can get some people to talk to me on this. Are there, and please know that I'm not shifting this. I don't want to shift. I'm not shifting any. I want to say this clearly. I am not shifting any blame. I want you guys to hear what I'm saying clearly. I am not shifting blame in any way, but I do have a question. And I asked my wife this question. I said, let me ask you a question. I said, listen, is there a possibility that there are women who see pastors and see these pastors from a standpoint of their whether it's anointing that some of them might have, charisma that they might have, power that they might have, money that they might have? Is there a possibility that there are women who seek to get close to these pastors just so that they can see if they see a crack in the armor, a glimmer, a twinkle in the eye, something there that shows that their weakness, they have a weakness in this area, and they seek these pastors for the sake of being with them, whether it's to take them from their wife, whether it's to just see if they could conquer someone that's powerful. Is it just to see if in some way, shape, or form they could just have something that they can have for the sake of holding over that pastor's head? Is this possible? I want y'all to talk to me tonight. I need somebody to talk to me. Is it possible? Brother Cameron, what do you think, brother?
You know what? There is something such as addiction of power, and not necessarily just pastors. This I'm looking towards a woman, because women like men of power, and you never know. This person could have tried someone else, maybe on the job, or a supervisor, somebody like that, or somebody else out there that have a little power, and therefore she started focusing on, maybe I'm in the church, that pastor, he looked good, and just automatically just blocks his wife out, and all she does is have a tunnel zone, whereas she just looking dead at what she wants. Because most women, they think they have in their head, look, I see what I like, and I know what I like, and I truly believe I can get what I want. So and I've heard women say that before. So it could be something.
Wait a minute. So you're saying that you believe, yes, there are women who possibly seek these powerful men out for the sake of seeing if they can conquer them.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I know for a fact you can only do what a person allows you to do.
Right.
I understand that. Not saying that that man is exempt from anything. Trust me. Hear what I'm saying. I want you guys to hear this. I'm not saying that the pastor is exempt. What I'm saying is is it possible that a lot of pastors are hunted down by women that are like sharks, basically, that have the very intention to see if she can get the man of God, the pastor, to see if she can get him to yield to her strength, basically, which is her beauty, whether it's beauty or physique, whatever you might say. Is that what you're saying? You believe that?
Oh yeah. Yes. You know what? I'm looking at both cameras and there's like a delay. But anyways, there's a twist I'm gonna tell you about after. But there are a lot of women who seek finding things, and if they're not in the spirit of God, like like we're right now in spiritual warfare, and
Right.
if that man is not grounded, like deeply grounded, he might have some issues with his wife at home, being the pastor, and here comes this woman every Sunday. Oh, you might slip it in. You smell good. Oh, pastor, they're slick now. They might be like Miss First Lady. You don't mind if I give your husband this cologne? He has done so much for us, and that's the way they sneak them little things in there, and you understand where I'm coming from.
I get
right,
it. So
right.
okay,
A
so
breakdown.
I got a couple of people saying some things here. I see that Hector says that whether it be CEO, athletes, any kind of man in power, especially for financial stability. Lynette Weeks actually says, of course, it definitely happens. Yes, it happens. And then Faye says, Jezebel, oh Jezebel, basically. So a lot of times what kicks it is this, like I know for a fact, I know several pastors that have had this type of lifestyle. And it's not so much as, oops, I made a mistake once. I know of pastors that have, this is their repetition. This is what they do. You know what I mean? It's like they look for the weak and they prey on it. I believe that there are some people that are just out there and they're not here for the good intention of God's people.
Mm-hmm.
I truly believe that. I believe 100% that there are pastors in position that are not there for the sake of salvation, helping people get to the best walk that they can walk in, and just the good of the people. At the same time, I believe that everyone that comes to your church or your fold, everyone that's coming is not coming for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore, like for me, I've witnessed one of the things I've witnessed since I've been in the church world is there are a lot of women that thirst to be first ladies. They thirst to be a pastor's wife. It was strange, man. I'm telling you, a lot of stuff that I never thought would be true. I found to be like this is it has been very mind blowing. I'm telling you, very mind blowing that I have found a lot of people, a lot of women that really want to be a pastor's wife because it makes them feel important, as if though they have some form of status. They like the way that the ladies are paraded around. They like how they look when they come in with their husband and they're acknowledged. They like it is some form of kingdom type of setting. So it gives them a royal presence. I understand it. And like even to the point to where some women really don't mind being the second wife. Like they don't mind it because even though they're not getting the full accolade, they still get access to the power. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there are a lot of people with different thought processes that's not accurate according to scripture, and it's not accurate according to the lifestyle and the walk that we should be walking in as believers. I see Faith says, I know some women too. Yeah, absolutely. I know some. I've seen plenty. I've seen it. And so a lot of times, every time we see the scandals pop up and we see a man of God that has been put on display as he's failed, we look at the woman as if though, oh, poor thing, this pastor used his power to take advantage of, when it's not always the case. It's not always the case. Sometimes that pastor has been sought out, enticed, and failed for the hook, and how did they used to say back in the day, hook, line, and sinker. He's failed. You know what I mean? And he got enticed and he couldn't do it. This is why James talks about it inside of the scripture about if you look on something so long enough, you'll be enticed, and it'll cause you to taste and touch and take that fruit and taste it. And basically, what the ending of it is death. Like you sooner or later you'll fall for it.
Right.
So that's why I believe that it's very important that for pastors, and particularly, I believe it's important twofold. I believe it's very important that wives constantly keep a view of their husband, constantly, pay close attention to the people that are around their husband. Then I think it's very important for the husband to make sure that they have layers in between them and individuals, so that they're not caught up in situations that leads them to either fail or be lied on and set up as if though they've done something. Because we know for a fact that there are situations where some pastors have not done anything, but they have been lied on. You know what I'm saying? And so, but because there's so many that have failed before, the truth of the matter is, it's like the world is waiting to hear that negative report, and whether it's true or false, they're going to run with the negative report because that's what they're waiting for. It's like a picture has been painted that all men of God are going to at some point be corrupted in some way, shape, or form, as if though none of us have integrity and none of us have good intention to do what God wants us to do. Wait a minute. I see that Faith says that the professional side piece, aka Jezebel, absolutely. There are professional side pieces, what they call them, or you could call them second wives or whatever you want to call it. But there are women who will make a man feel comfortable with cheating, will make a man feel comfortable with doing wrong and continuing in it. And I always like to warn men, and I always tell men, listen. I always tell men this. I always tell men, if you're married, do not fall for a secret love affair. Don't fall for a secret attachment. Why? Because secret attachments is a fairy tale. It's a myth. I promise you that. Brother Keynes, I know you'll tell the truth about that. I know you know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
If secret love affairs is a setup from the start. I will tell you this: any woman that gets involved with a man that has a woman, she is not getting involved with that man just because she wants to have fun.
Right.
She's getting involved because her goal, her end game, is to take over that situation. Her goal is to destroy the relationship that's already there. Women do not come to play side piece forever. Women come to take over. So, I mean, you have to know that if a woman is getting involved with a situation where there's another woman already there, she's coming to take over. If you fail, if you fall for the devil's trick, that's the first trick that's the oldest trick of the book. She's not coming to just sit on the sideline. Okay, hold on a second. Let me read. I got some questions coming in here. Do you believe such a weak pastor should have a seat until he gets it together? I believe that if a pastor finds himself in a weak position where he has been vulnerable and has compromised the oath and compromised the calling on his life and the position that he stands in, I believe he should absolutely take a seat and allow time so that he can heal and let his members heal, let his family heal, and then approach it again once he has regained himself and his strength and his position. I don't believe you should keep walking in it because the simple fact it says that you're beyond reproach. It says that you're above the law. It says that you are okay operating in a messed up state. That's not correct. We should we should have enough respect for God first that we say I should sit down and give this some time before I continue. I should stop for a while before I continue. Let this be time for you to heal and get stronger in your walk. Understand that these are humans that we're talking about. So when we're talking about
Mhm.
you, we're not talking about God, we're talking about humans. So humans are capable of failing. We know this. We see this in the scripture. Humans are capable of failing, but that's what the purpose of grace is for. Grace is there in case you fail. It's like the spare tire in the trunk. We don't ride on the spare tire all the time. We try to we get the repairs that's necessary and until we need the spare tire again. But hopefully you don't keep failing in the same spot, but the weak moments happen. And so we have to make sure we set up the proper safety measures so that we do not continue to fail or have a failure in the first place. So let's go to I want to go to the next question. I hope I'll answer that question, Lynette. Let's go to the next question. Since Faye says, well, it's a statement. I used to tell Jay, as a first lady, I'll have to take what she'll have to tote her fire. She'll have to take, in other words, she's saying the heat, because they already be on him with that godly glow, they gonna cross that line, laugh out loud. Absolutely. Well, and that's another thing I think people feel like a lot of people don't understand what they're attracted to. That charisma, that anointing of being able to orate, speak, and uh have such a powerful delivery. A lot of people are very attracted to the anointing or the gift. They are attracted to that gift. And they don't really realize that it's not the man, it's the gift that they're so attracted to. It happens with women
Mhm.
speakers as well. Uh, Women speakers can also carry such a spirit that people become very attached. They can become I'm sorry, they can become very, very attracted to that power. And when they become attracted to that power, it could be something that people don't even realize that they are doing, that they are making come-ons or that they're even turned on by that. So we have to be very careful with that. Let's see what the next it says, and they're going to lose them the same way they get them. Absolutely. Well, and that's the trouble of it. You know, most women that come in and they come with that for the sake of taking over type of spirit, uh, they're not really coming for good intentions of longevity anyway. They're really just coming to say that they had the power to do it. You know what I mean? Like they'll watch another woman and they'll say, "Oh, she thinks that she's all that because she has him." But the reality is, her thought process is, I'm going to make sure you know that you're not all that. Really, it's not about the man. They're really, a lot of times, it's about the other woman looking like she's better than her. So she comes in to show that she has the power or the ability to come in and upset everything. With no good intention to stay around. Doc, how you doing, brother? Good to see you tonight, man. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Let's see what Doc says. This is award-winning celebrity radio host for 90.7 FM, Doc Lewis. Facebook Live. Absolutely, California, my brother. Hey, thanks for jumping in. I appreciate you, brother, for jumping in and giving us a shout out tonight. And yes, he said he should sit down. Yes, he should sit down. I never understood leaders that, first of all, I just don't understand how a person can have sex with members and still get up and preach to the same members. What about Cameron? Help me out here, brother. Because
man, I'm trying to play a safe game. You know, it affects everybody. Everybody. You know, me, like I said before, me at 14 years old, man, traveling, you know, and our choir used to travel, and then this particular pastor, you know, had these women around him in the same room. You know, when we travel, and then all the grown adults around me, they never shut him down, and that always bothered me. But think about it. I didn't live in his home, but I went to his church, and it affected me. So could you imagine that his kids? I know it affected them, you know, and even the person he was messing with in some sort of a way, you know. So they, you know, the women that goes in on this, they don't even think about that, you know, when they're going in. All they think about is what they want. Now I'm gonna tell you this: the twist I was going to talk about earlier. I know of 2 women pastors that actually messed around behind their husband with one of the other with some members.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Oh
It goes
yeah,
both ways. And like even from what I've caught, women pastors who mess around with women in the church. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, man, I tell you, it's a messy thing. But my thing is this: if we know that these pastors have done this stuff over and over again, why hasn't anyone said anything? And why is it that nobody, and I get confused because members take up for those pastors knowing that they do it. Like it's a covering, like to stop them from being dethroned, so to speak.
Right.
So, position. And yeah, and when you consider it, it's like we're talking about people where you have young ladies coming in vulnerable because they just trust the pastor. Right. Whether that's a female pastor or male pastor, they trust them, period. And so where do we go from here? What really, like, it's like, and see, all of these are like little kingdoms of their own. There's no, and that's why, you know, you can't just really address it overall and something be done, because they're little kingdoms overall and people are untouchable in their kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So it's like at some point, someone has to have some godly integrity and a godly conscience to say, you know, if I fail in that area, like, you know, for me, I get bothered if I get upset at certain people a certain way, my conscience bothers me. I don't understand how a person could possibly come on to women, or women come on to women, or men, or whatever, in the congregation and still preach. Right. Like if me and my wife have an argument, I halfway want to preach on Sunday, but I know I gotta preach. You know what I'm saying? So, but you know, there's a hindrance there because I feel like if we don't fix this argument we had, you know what I'm saying, I shouldn't be up preaching yet. You know what I mean? So I don't understand how a person can get up and preach and proclaim the God. Like, it's like nothing in you bothers you. Like, that throws me off. Hold on a second. Let me read this right quick.
Okay.
Doc says, should they step down or should they sit down? Well, you know, I believe each individual has a different situation. So it could be a different situation. If it's a situation where you've been caught off guard and this happened and this was not your intention and this is something that just happened, I think you should sit down so that you can reevaluate this thing, let God work in your life and become stronger. Now, if you find yourself, I guess you would say, a person who does this, you become a predator in some way, you should be set down for good. You should sit down.
Mhm.
That's not your position to be in. You're not to be trusted in leadership. You should not be trusted in that position. I believe it's very, and I think it's kind of depends on the situation. And also, let's see what we got. Got another statement from Doc, and he says, "Let pastors feel like they are above God." I seen it firsthand in the church. The women want money, and you believe it. Like
Mhm.
a lot of times, that is the reason. And so, a lot of these pastors will approach younger women because they know their
Right.
situation, know they're in poverty in some way, shape, or form. They have money, and so they use their money
Right.
angle to take advantage of a lot of these young girls. Now, at the same time, some of these women see that they have money and they come for the sake of getting it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, listen. Here's one thing that I do understand: the devil, real recognize real, and the spirit of Satan recognizes the spirit of Satan. It's like if they already know in their heart what they see in you. I don't believe people try people when they, you know what I'm saying? I don't think women like to try a man that they feel that that man is not about the games. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? If he gives her he has to give her some way of thinking that. Now, men, they will approach women regardless if they're because they're such predators that they will approach a woman regardless if they believe they're about that game or not. You know what I mean? They just wanted the challenge. But most women, if they don't see that door open or cracked a little bit, they won't approach. So it's kind of crazy, but money is a big factor. Hold on one second. I see Lynette says that false sense of power. Yes, absolutely. It is a very much so false sense of power. And then I see Doc say they don't say everything because they're getting paid to
Right.
not say anything. Absolutely. But once the money stops, that's when we get these reports that, oh,
Mhm.
this person took advantage of me. Oh, this person, you know what I mean? When I was vulnerable, it's such a trap in so many ways. You gotta notice. See, one of the things that I learned is and I guess what's helped me a lot is that I'm a pastor, but my past life was I was in the world heavy. So I dealt with women of all types in the world because I had money when I was in the world. I lived the fast life, from the club life, the VIPs, the money throwing in the VIP. I've experienced pretty much everything before stepping into the church. And see, for me, that's somewhat of a strength for me now because I know a lot of tricks that I've seen before. And at the same time, I'm not thirsty. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not thirsty for power. It's not like it's like to have power is not foreign to me, if that makes sense. It's like I've been in those powerful positions before, and I've had a lot before. So in this side, for me to come to Christ, I came for a reason. So therefore, what a lot of people will be tempted by, I'm not tempted by because I've seen it, I've done it, I've been there. So it's like a lot of people that step into this pastoring, they're green. A lot, especially the young pastors come in, they're green in a lot of ways when it comes to like having power. So when that power comes to them, whether it's in their elevation in ministry, a lot of times they get met with stronger temptations that they've never dealt with before. Those temptations that they never conquered before. So you have to be very, very, very careful. And this is why I say for any pastor, any young pastor coming in as a minister, please, please take your time. The biggest, deadliest blow to ministry is zeal. The biggest, deadliest blow to ministry is zeal. You come into ministry, you felt the presence of God, you feel like you're on fire for God, You thirst to be seen as a preacher, pastor, prophet, prophetess, minister, whatever. You seek those positions because you feel like God is using you, but you have not taken the time to grow. Take your time to grow so that you can learn the weapons of the enemy and learn what the enemy is doing. Because if you don't take the time to study this, you will be in a ton of trouble in the long run. Let's go to the next question. Somebody else had a question here. Let's see. Lynette says too many liberal pastors these days. And it says not all pastors have money though. You're right. Not all pastors have money. And here's the catch. When we say power, it's not about money. Power is about position. Like, with position, money comes depending on what type of church you're in. But what you do have as a pastor will always be the position and that title. And a lot of times for some people, that is power. A lot of people see that as power in a lot of ways. And yes, you're absolutely right, Doc. Spirits know spirits. So we have to be very, very careful because I tell you, it's just rough. Go ahead, Brother Cameron. I'm sorry, man. I take
That's all right.
Yep,
That's all
go
right.
ahead,
You know, going back to when I talked about that particular pastor, that bothered me for years, right? And I always wondered certain things. Now I have known of someone that was explaining about there was a young girl that he approached and actually had sex with her. Now the part that bothered me is how we have these pimping parents, in the church, mother, dad, and I can't even see how a father would allow it. And then, the girl explained this is what's going on, and they like, oh yeah, try to hush it. You see what I'm saying? Because they feel either embarrassed or they don't want to lose position. Me, I know we on this podcast, but I would blow his head off. That's just me.
It's scary because
My daughter.
I feel the scariest part about this is this. I feel the scariest part is that people start to think that they're above reproach, that they're above being judged, they're above being called out, the coattail being pulled. I feel people get in that place where they start to feel they're above it. And that is like, the Bible says that pride comes before the fall. And so what happens in pride is you begin to think that you're untouchable. And see, most people will continue in sin because they think that the judgment of God, because the Bible says that the judgment of God tarries. So a lot of people continue in sin for that reason. And so we have to know what we're watching, what we're seeing. And so, a lot of times, people won't say anything as far as what the pastor's name or anything like that because of the fact that a lot of times people try to protect congregations and things like that. And so when we do this, it kind of sets us up in a way because, especially when you know that this stuff is true, it's a big difference when I heard a rumor, but it's a big difference when you know that things are true that you're hearing, and you actually run into the people that these things have happened to, and so no one says anything, and so people continue to go to these churches, and then they get hurt, and then hurt again. And see, the hurtful thing for me is that I'm running into people who say they don't do church. People who say they don't want anything to do with church. And the reason why is because of this thing that people try to hide. The affairs, the stuff that they're seeing. When you hold a position, people look up to you.
Yeah.
People look up to you and they respect you. When you don't hold up to what you say you are, practicing what you preach, you hurt people. You hurt people, even if it's not a direct hurt where you did something to them, and specifically, it's still hurt because these people had a lot of hope built up in the word that you give. And I know we always say, well, people are not God and people shouldn't look at man. No, let's stop that talk, because the truth of the matter is this: you are a representative for God. And with that being said, it carries weight. So it's no real excuse to live preach one thing and live a certain way. That's different. You have to do what's right. You know, holiness is one of the things that people don't talk about anymore, because a lot of people that have jumped up into position and did not live up to what they were supposed to live up to, never push themselves to be anything stronger or different. Then they start preaching the message that it's no such thing as being able to walk this life correctly. So then everybody adopts this thought that holiness is impossible.
Right.
But that's not the truth. You can actually live a life without adultery. You can live a life without fornication. You can live a life without sleeping with the women in your church. You can actually do it, but that requires something. And that's the problem. Most people don't want to give what's required. And what's required of us is that we be separate from what we used to be a part of. If we're going to say I follow Christ, then I need to become a new creature. And if you can't control your flesh and the lust that you have, then you have to sit down and say, look, maybe, yes, maybe, I need to wait until I reach a certain area of strength, maturity in this walk before I decide to lead people. There's a difference between witnessing to people and leading people. It's a big difference. You can go out, anyone can go out and say God is good. Anyone can go out and say try Jesus. Anyone can go out and say how magnificent God is. But to go out and put a title on your name and say that I am a leader, I'm a pastor, I'm this, I'm that, that's a requirement. There should be a requirement to your walk, the integrity of your walk. It should not be able to be tested, and there should not be people should not be able to see the stains and the flaws in you to where they know that they can do certain things to cause you to fail. That shouldn't be a part of your walk. Your walk, you have to get closer to Christ. And that just requires you to do more. Fasting, praying, and spending time with God like you need to. You can't do it and saturate yourself with everything that's happening in the world. It's impossible. Go ahead, brother.
That's what happens. They take their sight off of God and put it on their power and get caught up in that power, and their flesh gets weak. And that's what happens, you know.
It easily happens too.
Yep.
It easily happens. And I'm telling you, that's why, like, for instance, I'll tell you, man, like, some of the things that helps me the most is this. When I go places, I take my wife with me. I mean, you got to realize that you're human. And see, this is where people mess up. They forget. Take your wife with you so that you can make sure that you have a safety, another safety layer. If your wife cannot travel with you,
right,
you need to have a trustee, a person, a deacon, or another minister, someone that travels with you that will constantly talk and pour into you spiritually, and so that you are reminded who you are, so that you will have another layer of security. You don't trust yourself. It's the power of God that keeps us. So in saying that, we have to make sure that we set up safety nets so that we're not easily tempted and led away. We have to be very careful with that. I see a lot of people jumping online. You guys talk to me tonight. I see man, maybe I'm saying too much, maybe I'm talking giving too much information at one time, and everyone's just listening at this point. But you're absolutely right, man. It's just crazy. Go ahead, brother Cam. Do you have anything you like to add to this?
Yeah, I should have write it down just now. I had something else I wanted to say, but it'll come back. It'll come back. But yeah, it's funny how you said that about you know traveling with your wife and have this person, not trying to just go down on them because it happened a long time ago, but they traveled with all the time with a lot of women. They did not have their wife with them all the time at all, like at 1%.
That's a setup. That's a whole
And
failure.
yeah, oh
That's
yeah,
a
for
whole
years.
setup
I'm
right
talking
there.
about for 40 something years, my brother.
And I
40
think
something years, man.
a wise man should know that he should never trust himself. And this is what this is what people get mixed up at. Oh man, I got it. I'm good. I'm never gonna do. I'll never do. And I've heard it too many times and seen people fail after saying it. Listen, don't trust. You can't even trust yourself. Understand that. That's why you should keep someone with you.
Mm-hmm.
Be smart, man. Be smart. Keep somebody with you that will keep you and help you stay on the straight and narrow. There's nothing wrong with having someone that will be there to hold you accountable. It's nothing wrong with that. And you can't have a bunch of women traveling with you and saying to yourself that you'll never have any feelings or any type of thing that might transpire from having that person with you. No, just don't trust yourself like that so you don't fail. It's too many people that have failed like that. It's a big mistake. I was told that when I was a very young minister, man. Do not trust yourself. Keep someone with you. An elder told me that. And trust me and believe me, it is a life-keeping wisdom, a piece of wisdom that ministers should know. Many ministers fail in this area because they trusted their flesh. And the Bible declares that our heart is dark and it will deceive us. It will deceive you. What does that mean? It'll make you think that you're okay. And then what's in it for real doesn't come out until you least expect it, and it will deceive you. It will make you think you're all right and then let you fail. So you have to be very careful with that. Go ahead, brother.
And that person that's with you, they have to be so grounded in the word, and they have to love. They can't just love you. They have to love your wife. You understand? Because a lot of people in church get caught where, oh, I don't like her. I don't like the first lady. I'm crazy about the pastor. And then you see what I'm saying? And ain't no way you could love one and not love the other. There's no way. No way. And that's where people go wrong. But it bothers me how people in the church that have position just let things slide, man. Going back to that girl was only 16 years old, bro. 16 years old, man. And this person 40, 50 something years old, doing that to a 16-year-old, so and using that money, manipulating her mind.
And so you got these people that come along, and that's what look, he has money. Like, for instance, I talk about John Gray, right? Listen, and this is I'm not being funny. I'm not. You guys. I know you guys know I'm a jokester. I'm not being funny right now. I'm really not trying to be funny. But I do want to say this. Look at John Gray. Look at John Gray. Look at John Gray. Look at the young ladies that John Gray was caught up with. John Gray is nothing. And listen, John Gray is nothing to look at. Come on, be serious now. Reality check. John Gray is not a top model. He's not a fashion model. He's not none of the above, right? But what he has is money. He has a lot of money, right? So money, there are women that will approach. There are women, let's put it this way. There are women that are drawn by what you have and they want access to what you have. Of course, they knew John's wife was driving around in these nice cars. She's living in a big house. Oh, she has all the status. Of course, they see this and they're saying to themselves, she's not all that. I'm finer than her. I'm prettier than her. I'm gonna get what I'm gonna show her that she's not all that. I'm gonna. They wait to see if they can see a dent in his armor, and when they see that dent in his armor through flirting or whatever it may be, the next pawn is next. What? Of course, they're coming because they know he has money, and they're gonna do whatever it takes to get it. And they don't care about no godliness. They don't care about your leadership. They don't care about your title. They don't care about none of that because really their real purpose for being there is not because they believe in God. They have been sent. As a matter of fact, one of the amazing things inside of the scripture in Jude, in the book of Jude, and I just preached on this, one of the amazing things here that certain ones have crept in unawares, but they were people that were from before old, which really pointed out that these people were already predestined. They already had set themselves up since childhood. Their mission was to be that person that comes that make a man or a woman of God fail. It's like they already sought you out. They have a mission already on their heart. So you have to be very, very careful who you allow in your circle and around you. And Brother Cam, you did say something that was very important. You have to also make sure that the person that's with you loves God and that that person is grounded in the word. Why? Because that you can travel with people, and we travel a lot. We travel a lot. We go to different states and different settings. We meet a lot of people. But one thing about it is you have to have somebody who's not saying to you in your ear, hey, I wonder if we can go to the club or go down to the bar and get a drink, or I wonder if we can find a couple females we can hang out with while we're here. No harm intended. We just hang out. No, you got to have somebody who says, oh, I saw this female look at you a certain way, and I immediately stood between where she was looking. So that way, she couldn't even catch eye contact. You got to have people who are looking out for you. People who say, look, it's time to go back to the room. It's time to leave this situation. This situation isn't healthy for us. You got to have people around you like that because that is what saves your calling, your integrity, and your name. Your name is everything. And the moment your name has been dragged around by everybody saying that you've been caught sleeping with this person, you're having adultery, you're committing adultery with this person. The moment your name is out there like that, it's very, very hard to get rid of it. Most times you'll never get rid of it. There'll always be somebody that drags your name from that they've heard. And so with just that alone, when you know that people can lie on you, you definitely don't want to give them ammunition with anything that's true for real. So you have to be careful with that. You have to be very careful. You know what I mean? So I'm just waiting on some of my people to give me some statements. I see everybody's just listening tonight. Oh my God. All my people. I see you clicking likes and everything, guys.
I got something. Now it just came back to me. So I know there's somebody out there right now saying, yeah, Pastor, you saying that, whatever, but that's in it right now. That somebody watching right now that's doing it, but they're not gonna say nothing. They're looking, they're listening, and they probably say, oh yeah, who are you, man? Who you think you are? They're saying that right now. I got something to tell you. You better get it right, man. Get it right. And then there's probably a 16-year-old or 20-something-year-old or somebody who's 40 done been through it right now and can't let it go, hurt, torn of what happened to them in the past, and probably still going to the same church. So I'm just telling you now, man, you could be healed, and let it go. It ain't you. It ain't your fault.
That's right.
Don't blame yourself. you know. But just pray to God and let God, you and God work it out.
Yeah,
But don't blame yourself. Don't blame
whatever
yourself,
you
man.
do, whatever you do, don't turn against the church as a whole. And see what
Right.
happens is that's the devil's real plan. The real plan of the enemy is that you're hurt and the wall of offense is put up, and now you believe that every pastor is the same, or you believe that everybody is out here sleeping with somebody. It's not true. Everybody is not sleeping around. Every pastor is not out here committing adultery. Every pastor is not. There are pastors that are really in this for the truth, for the real deal of trying to save souls, get people to believe in God, and teach people the correct way to carry out this walk. You cannot allow the offense of one man or woman to cause you to turn against God or turn against fellowship, period. You know,
Right. Right.
every church is not necessarily ordained by God. You just got to realize that. Every pastor is not necessarily called by God. You got to realize that. When you don't see the attributes of God, first of all, you got to know the attributes of God. But when you don't see the true attributes of God, then make the decision to no longer be there. Because at the end of the day, you got to find a place that's healthy. You got to find a place that is really able to pour into you so that you are not continuing the cycle of hurt and continuing to be hurt. That's very important because if you don't, most people find themselves away from church and walking away from God and
Mm-hmm.
blaming God. It's not a matter of God here. This is a matter of common sense. Look,
Right.
this is not a good place for me to be in, and it's time for me to go. You know, a lot of people stick around just because what they can benefit from people,
Right.
and that in itself puts the blame back on you, not necessarily the pastor, not necessarily the church, congregation, or nothing else. You got to make the right decision to be in a place that's healthy. What you say, brother Cam?
Yeah. You gotta look at your value, man. What's your value?
Right.
Like like I was telling you the other day, how sometimes people be at certain church and they know a lot of stuff that's going on, and they really want to get away from that church, but it's kind of hard, because they want to make the right move to go to another church. And I'm sure somebody listening to me right now probably saying that, they like to move on. They've been wanting to get out of that position, knowing this is going on, but you move when the Lord tell you to move. Because guess what happens? Something may happen where that pastor is moving. You can still stay there,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But do the right thing, man. Do the right thing. That's all I could say. Do the right thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man, we've been on for an hour. I can't believe, man, the time flies so fast when it's these good conversations. Anybody have any questions before I jump off? I want you guys to hop in. If you have any questions or any statements, go ahead and feel free to drop them in the comment section now. It's a good time. Now is a good time. If anybody is in the room and they want to drop in a comment or a statement or a question, go ahead and do so now. Be perfect. Because I do know, man, like, Cam, I tell you, man, it's been, I've been out here for many years now, doing ministry from different aspects.
Yeah,
And man,
and it's not just in the urban community, man.
oh no, it's not. Oh no, not just that. No,
oh
not
yeah,
the our Caucasian families. It's all the way around the board.
oh
It's
yeah.
all the way around the board. It's not just in the black. This is an
It-
ongoing thing, man. And I tell you, you gotta know the spirit of God. You gotta try the spirit with God. You gotta try the spirit, and you gotta know who God is. If you don't know who God is, man, you'll be tricked every single time. You gotta know. You have to know who God is, and that's the bottom line. Knowing about God, knowing what God's attributes.
right.
What does God love? What does God hate? You have to know this stuff. But when you notice stuff and you see someone who calls himself a leader or a believer at all, anyone that says they're walking with God and they don't line up or match up to what God's attributes, you know that spirit is not of God. You know what I'm saying? When they're saying things that don't line up to what God said, His Word says, you know that that's not of God. You have to know how to separate yourself from things that are not of God. And whether that's a person, personally, whether it's the body of believers, or whether it's a church, whatever it may be, when you realize that it's not of God, you have to take caution and protection over your soul at the end of the day.
Now,
I put it this way.
mm-hmm.
If you know you have someone living next door that is a abuser of children, will you send your child next door to spend the night? No.
Exactly.
I feel the same way about my soul. I feel the same way about my spiritual life. If I know I treasure this life, my spiritual life, God, then I'm gonna do and take the precautions that I need to take in order to make sure that I maintain safety in my soul. See what I'm saying? And that's very important. What were you about to say, Brother Cam?
Now, I'm just gonna say that, you know, social media is real powerful, and see how we talk about this. Probably tomorrow, the next day, next week, we'll probably be like, you know, we were just discussing this, and here it is. It just came out again. Even ourselves, man. You know, the enemy's so bad. You can't really believe everything that you hear on social media. You know, people try to set like we're talking now. Somebody might try to set us up. You know, that's just how it is, man. We just being real, raw. You know, so we got to pray to God for protection at all times. Because got people who will try to set you. Oh, you talking about that? Okay, all right. It could be a man, woman, somebody. You know, but we got God on our side, man. We no matter what, we know He's gonna protect us. But yeah, you know. So like I said, if there's any hurting person out there, man, you know, talk to someone that you can trust. You know, get help. Because somebody out there right now, as we talk, is in a room right now being abused by someone right now, a pastor or someone else, maybe in a different setting, like corporation or something. But if you're listening to this and you're being abused, talk to somebody. Don't be scared. Don't be scared at all, man. Let it out.
That's what's up. Guys, listen, it's been a good night. Thank you so much for jumping in. And of course, see you guys again next time on He's Able. Keep hope alive. Contagious hope, guys. Listen, we know that we will have struggles. We'll have an uphill battle in this walk in all of our life. But we know that there's hope in God, and we know that He will straighten out those areas that happens around us every day. God bless you guys. God keep you guys. Till the next time, Able.